Good evening. I'd like to call our meeting to order and ask the treasurer to call the roll.
President Baker.
Present.
Mr. Brown.
Here.
Vice President Cole.
Present.
Ms. Gibbs.
Present.
Ms. Hudson. Mr. Peretti.
Here.
Ms. Reyes.
Here.
You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer, and thank you all for being here this evening, and I hope you had a good July. We didn't meet during July, but hope your summer's going well. I'm now going to ask a special guest to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Kai Rodriguez is the intern in Director Rhonda Johnson's office. I'd like to ask her to come forward to the podium, and she's a student at Fort Hays.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that, Ms. Rodriguez. We appreciate that. All right, now the board will be going into executive session and will return just as soon as possible, and we'll conduct the rest of our public business at that point. I'm going to ask the Vice President to offer a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is recommended that the Board of Education recess into executive session per Section 121.22 G1 Ohio Revised Code to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official per Section G3 Ohio Revised Code to confer with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving the public body that are the subject of pending or imminent court action.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Treasurer?
President Baker.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Vice President Cole. Yes. Ms. Gibbs.
Yes.
Mr. Peretti.
Yes.
Ms. Reyes.
Yes.
That motion carried.
Thank you. The board will now recess into executive session. We will return to these chambers just as quickly as possible. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patience, everyone, while we were in executive session. I'll now ask for a motion to adjourn out of executive session.
Second. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Treasurer?
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Vice President Cole.
Yes.
Ms. Gibbs.
Yes.
Mr. Peretti.
Yes.
Ms. Reyes.
Yes.
And President Baker.
Yes.
That motion carried.
Thank you very much. I'll briefly read through our agenda quickly, and then we'll adopt it. So we are going to, here under item number 4, notice a public hearing on reemployment of an employee. We'll then hear from the direct reports, after which we will take up our consent agenda, after which we will hear announcements from board members. We will then again recess into executive session. We will adjourn from that executive session without returning to these chambers. So, board, is there a motion that we adopt the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Treasurer?
Vice President Cole.
Yes.
Ms. Gibbs.
Yes.
Mr. Peretti.
Yes.
Ms. Reyes.
Yes.
President Baker.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
That motion carried.
Thank you very much. Now, item number 4, notice of public hearing on reemployment of employee. Mr. Vice President, if you wouldn't mind.
Pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 3307.353, the Columbus Board of Education gave notice on May 16, 2017, that Stephanie Bland, middle school principal, would retire from Columbus City Schools effective June 30th, 2017, and would be seeking to be rehired in the district. The board further gave notice that it would conduct a public hearing concerning her employment at tonight's board meeting. We will now conduct that hearing. We will invite any member to the public to address the board about Ms. Bland's prospective employment as a middle school principal effective September 1st, 2017. Following our practice, we will allow each speaker up to 4 minutes to present her or his views. Once we have heard any speakers, the hearing will conclude and the board will consider the employment of Mrs. Bland, at the appropriate time. Is there anyone who wishes to address the board concerning the rehire of Mrs. Bland? This concludes our hearing on Mrs. Bland's employment. The board will act on this at the appropriate time.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. All right, let's move on then. We will now hear from our superintendent with his report.
Good evening, President Baker, Vice President Cole, members of the board. We move from happy news to a little bit of sad news. And for my colleagues here this evening that weren't aware of this, we learned of a tragic death of Linda Evans, who had been with our district for at least the past 10 years, most recently as an instructional assistant in our kindergarten classrooms at Linden STEM Academy. Linda retired from the district at the end of this past school year. Apparently she was struck by a car yesterday while jogging. The driver initially fled, but late yesterday an individual was apprehended. So we ask that you all keep Linda's family in your hearts and prayers, and keep the Linden STEM family and staff in your thoughts, please. So on this first day of August, school is underway once again. Well, one school is underway. Our district's only year-round school, Woodcrest Elementary, welcomed about 370 young boys and girls back to class last week. Lots of smiles, those squeaky new shoes, the energized teachers and staff, and a recharged spirit of success. I could see it on their faces, and I read it in their academic numbers, because last year, 95% of the third graders at Woodcrest met or exceeded the requirements of the state's third grade reading guarantee. Congratulations. And because of the intensive intercession instruction, less than 10% of the school's kindergarten through second graders need intervention plans this school year. Woodcrest program is another prime example of the vast educational choices families have when they choose wisely to be in Columbus City Schools. Across all of our district, the back-to-school engine is quickly gearing up. While the majority of our students don't return for another 22 days, our buildings are starting to hum again. Tonight marks the first night of extended hours in our Central Enrollment Center, which will run through the month and into September. Reporting back to school this week are all of our administrators and secretaries, joining our operations and building and grounds teams who have been spending the last several weeks working hard in getting our schools and buses ready to run. I met with our new administrators this morning, and we'll chat with all of our building leaders later this week. And tomorrow and Thursday, we will welcome our marvelous school secretaries at a special 2-day office academy. Truth is, the work in our district never really stops over the summer, but you can feel the energy levels rising as we near that first day on August 23rd. The new school year holds much promise, but we must also face some new challenges. In the coming weeks, my team will be spotlighting the new tools and new opportunities we will implement in the new school year. Tonight, I want to focus on 2 that will garner much of our attention, and the first is third grade reading. Overall, reading scores and literacy skills for third graders in Columbus City Schools are on a positive trajectory up. In fact, we're doing 10% better than we were last year. Good job, teachers. More than 3,800 of our third graders from last school year met or exceeded the requirements of the state's third grade reading guarantee and have matriculated on to fourth grade. That puts our current 3GRG promotion rate at 83.2%. That also means we have a number of students who are likely not going to be promoted to fourth grade immediately. At the beginning of summer, there were 108 students who had not yet met the requirements and risked being held back, compared to just 420 students last year. Of that 801, 561 of those students took the summer Ohio Standard Test, but the results won't be back until August 28th, which is after the start of the year. An additional 331 students have one last opportunity to take the summer NWEA MAP alternative, either as part of the special August Reading Academy we've set up at their home schools in the days right before the new year begins, or otherwise. These numbers are not because students are faring worse on the state test than their predecessors. On the contrary, had the state kept the promotion scores the same on both the state test and the alternative, we would have been a little bit over 91% promotion rate, which is a little better than the last 2 years. And that's without the final summer test results. So for those students who must be retained in third grade, we'll start the year with clearly defined reading improvement plans. We all know them as RIMPs. Additional interventions will be put in place to assist in specific areas of skill that the students need: vocabulary, fluency, comprehension. This year, I can tell you we will invest more staff, more interventions, more community engagement, and more dollars and resources to primary reading from K to 3. In the weeks to come, I will share some of that plan. Another focus of our attention will be our continued and strengthened efforts to give more of our students the opportunity to connect with a caring adult mentor. Countless individuals and organizations across Central Ohio have stepped up in the past, dedicating their time, their talents, their resources, helping students improve their reading, navigate tough subjects or tough times, and offering positive influence. And we have seen the results. Near-peer mentors, like those who come to us through the city year contract we are asking the board to approve tonight, have shown improved attendance rate and decreased discipline numbers in several of our priority schools. And through our Office of Student Mentoring initiatives, new data from last year revealed that when an off-track high school senior is at risk of failing to graduate and is paired with a caring and dedicated adult mentor, the student has a 75% better chance of earning their diploma. That's impressive. All good, but now it's time to step up our game and create a culture of mentorship throughout our entire community. So I thank Vice President Cole and Board Member Brown for joining me this morning as we launched a major coordinated community-wide recruitment effort aimed at enlisting hundreds more mentors. This call to action stems from the dedicated members of the Columbus Mentoring Alliance, a work group led by our Office of Student Mentoring Initiatives, along with the City of Columbus and several local mentoring organizations, all working together to harness the network of existing and new programs and to elevate the mentorship experiences for all of our young people. And together, our organizations will host shared events that invite potential mentors in to discover what opportunities exist, whether it's in Columbus City Schools or elsewhere, what programs best fit their time and talents, and how they can have a true impact on the lives of our young people. A shared voice, a shared commitment. That's how we will grow mentoring in our community. Now let me share a few more quick notes. Today was also the launch of Books to Breakfast donation drive in partnership with the Columbus Metropolitan Library and Panera Bread. Throughout the month of August, donors can drop off new or gently used books for our elementary students by visiting any of the 23 Columbus Library branches. Panera is helping us promote the book drive, recognizing that just like eating a good meal at breakfast, reading in the morning offers young people a way to engage their minds earlier so they're ready to learn by the time they reach their first class at school. We are in our third year of this great partnership, and last year, the library and Panera collected roughly 8,000 books for our young readers. Next, many of our families will soon hit the stores for back-to-school shopping. This Friday is the start of the state's back-to-school tax-free holiday weekend. No sales tax when you buy clothing and footwear priced at $75 per item or less, including uniforms worn at several of our schools. No sales tax on school supplies priced at $20 per item or less, such as pens, pencils, scissors, and paper. And no sales tax on school instructional material priced at $20 per item or less, such as books, workbooks, and study guides. And our communications team partnered with local retailers such as Walmart to have the suggested school supply list available in stores so our families know what to buy. To make it even easier, they've even added the list to our mobile app. All you have to do is click to see it. And when it comes to new school clothes, many of our families can benefit from the generosity of our partners at Charity Newsies. Over the past month, they have been accepting applications at several of the local Columbus Metropolitan Library branches. 4 more of their Saturday sign-up events are planned for this month. And then starting August 8th, the Charity Newsies headquarters at 4300 Indianola Avenue will be open most weekdays from 9 a.m. to noon to accept applications in person. We've put all of that information on our district's social media accounts, or you can call 614-263-4300 for details and eligibility information. Finally, while we are meeting here tonight, many of our cities, neighborhood, and civic associations are hosting national night out events. The night aims to promote police community partnerships, neighborhood camaraderie, and a shared mission to make our neighborhoods safer, more caring places. Many of our schools are serving as hosts to these celebrations. So depending on what time our meeting comes to a close, perhaps you will head out to one of the national night out events. When you are there, look for our logo. We've partnered with several sites to offer our support because, as this board has said on several occasions, school safety is everyone's responsibility, and we cannot do it without the support of our communities. So the countdown clock to the first day of school is ticking louder and louder. Our partners are stepping up, our families are getting ready, the spirit's growing stronger and stronger. We will be ready on August 23rd. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from board members for the superintendent? Thank you for sharing all of that great news. We're all very excited about the first day of school. Looking forward to it. I know all of our teachers are as well, of course. So If there's nothing else from the superintendent, call on our internal auditor to share any report she might have with us. Madam?
Thank you, President Baker. The Audit and Accountability did not meet during the month of July, so I do not have a report at this time.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good to see you. I missed you in July. All right. Mr. Treasurer, have you a report for the board this evening?
Thank you, President Baker. Just a quick announcement. The Finance and Appropriations Committee will meet next week on Thursday, August 10th, 4 o'clock, here in this room.
Thank you very much. All right. Any questions for internal auditor or treasurer? Very good. All right. Then let's move on to our consent agenda. And is there a motion from the board that we approve our consent agenda as it's presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Before we do,
Yes,
I wanna
Mr. Brown?
clarify what's included and what's not. My understanding was that 8, none of those items are part of the consent agenda. Am I correct?
Oh, okay, very good. Let's take up the board matters items separately then, if you don't mind. If you'll indulge me. All right. So then, thank you, Mr. Brown. So first item is the Policy Review Committee Charter. So you should all have before you.
Do we got to take that motion off the table? We
President
moved,
Baker, I think
Mr.
it would be
Treasurer.
a simple matter of asking Vice President Cole, who owns the motion, to withdraw his motion.
Mr. Vice President?
I withdraw the motion, Mr.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're good to go.
Very good. All right, board members, you should all have before you, it's in board docs, an updated draft of the Policy Review Committee Charter. I thank those of you who offered suggestions for updates. Thank you for those conversations. And is there any further questions on the PRC Charter?
Yes, Mr. President.
Mr. Vice President?
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to clarify that the language that had initially been in the first draft that states that the president makes the appointments to this committee, that is just merely duplicative as per our bylaws.
Yes, Mr. Vice President. So that language which was included in the charter, it is duplicative because that is already specifically outlined in our bylaws.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? I want to thank Mr. Peretti, who was instrumental in helping to draft these, and thank him for his previous service as PRC chair, and look forward to the service of Mr. Brown as our upcoming chair. We will appoint the committee after we have adopted the charter later this month. If there is nothing further, the chair will now entertain a motion that we adopt the PRC charter as presented.
I'll move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Mr. Treasurer?
Ms. Gibbs?
yes.
Mr. Peretti?
Yes.
Ms. Reyes?
Yes.
President Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Cole?
Yes.
That motion carried.
Thank you very much. Next item is item 8.2, approval to attend professional conference. You see this in board docs. This is for the NSBA Council of Urban Boards of Education, or CUBE, annual conference. It's their 50-year celebration. This is for Ms. Gibbs and for myself to attend. The total you see there quoted is a not-to-exceed number. Is there a motion that we approve item 8.2?
So moved.
Moved and, is there a second? Moved and seconded. Discussion? Mr. Brown?
Yes, I have precisely the same objection that I've voiced before. I am pleased that we now have a policy review committee which is going to be able to address the policy and perhaps answer the questions that I'm raising. But at this point, without having policy, without being able to demonstrate value to our students and our community, I object to spending public dollars in that amount.
Understood. Thank you, Mr. Brown. And I do look forward to the PRC further refining the policy that speaks specifically to that. Ms. Gibbs?
Yes, thank you. And again, we don't need to take up any matters in committee that we can't have clearly at the table. And the value of the Council of Urban Boards of Education is to continue to provide the professional development, the policy review nationally, and the discussions around issues that impact specifically urban boards and urban communities, such as students with English as a special language, the severe plight of young black males in our community, the push out of young black girls, the over-testing and the absolute taxing job we put on our educators to over-test them month after month and year after year, helping us navigate difficult and conflict as board members. It continues to be a valuable organization to which we hold membership both there and the National School Board Association. So while I hope and I look forward to the work of the public of the Policy Review Committee, it still will not negate the need for board members to get information and to address those critical issues that impact us uniquely as the largest school district in the state of Ohio and one of the largest top 40 districts in the nation. So, and I don't want travel to even come between us tackling these tough issues. So if you can find a speaker, a trainer, a program that you want to bring here that's going to talk about how our African American males are going to proceed, My Brother's Keepers, helping young girls, helping our rural students to come to urban districts, helping them succeed, and the 9 million things that our students with special needs, I will be open to it. But until then, we have to continue to learn. We can't be leaders and not learners. And you can't lead a new organization with old information. So I look forward to the continued dialogue.
Thank you, Ms. Gibbs. Any further discussion on item 8.2? Hearing none, Mr. Treasurer?
Mr. Peretti? Yes. Ms. Reyes?
Yes.
President Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
No.
Vice President Cole?
Absolutely, yes.
Ms. Gibbs?
Yes.
That motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Item 8.2, travel related to official duties while serving OSBA. Item 8.3 allows the district to be reimbursed or allows OSBA to pay directly costs related to professional development attended by board member Gibbs in her service as our assigned member of their board. Yes, Ms. Gibbs.
So this resolution at 8.3, as you know, as we are a member of the Ohio School Board Association, during our regularly scheduled meetings, whether it's for the Board of Trustees or serving on a committee, they often provide snacks, lunch, or they may provide refreshments. What this resolution allows you to do is to actually have it. Otherwise, those costs would be paid individually as a board member. So as a part of an extension of our membership, there is a policy that if they were to reimburse or to pay for the lunch or the apple that they provide, that they can in fact pay for it on behalf of the district. So this is not additional money from Columbus City.
Thank you, Ms. Gibbs. Is there a motion that we approve 8.3? Oh, I beg your pardon. Ms. Reyes.
Just a grammatical error in the last paragraph. I believe Gibbs is a her and not a him or his. I just want to make sure that somebody doesn't. So it says related conferences, similar events during her term, not his term.
All right.
That's
Duly
all.
noted. Is there a motion that we approve 8.3?
So moved.
Moved and seconded? Mr. Treasurer? Oh, I beg your pardon. Mr. Brown. Yes, sir.
I have similar concerns about this motion, this approval. As I look at this, read this, it's awfully broad. It's titled travel. It doesn't put any parameters. Certainly, I agree completely to keep things as simple and easy as possible with respect to local meetings and snacks given at meetings. It's not about that. The way this reads to me is that it's much broader, covering travel of all kinds, and essentially saying in advance that any of that is for school-related business and payable without any further action or review by anyone. So I think it just goes way too far.
Thank you for sharing that concern, Mr. Brown. This resolution is a template provided by OSBA, and so this is the required verbiage.
Required verbiage? I doubt it, but
I appreciate you sharing your doubt, Mr. Brown. Ms. Gibbs, have you any other concerns or issues?
So the representative to the Ohio School Board Association is appointed by the board every year. Numerous people serve, but I just want to clarify, it covers travel and reimbursement that OSBA pays. This isn't about what the district pays. This is about what OSBA pays on behalf of the representative that sits on the Ohio School Board Association. As the largest school district in the state, the largest 6 districts in the state of Ohio have an automatic seat, an assigned seat on the Ohio School Board Board of Trustees. Therefore, as a part of that assignment, that each district has a seat, this is to allow them to reimburse for any expenses incurred. So this is not the district paying for a hotel, or the district paying for the lunch at the meeting. This allows them to pick up the cost.
I'm happy to take another look at it and speak with representatives at OSBA.
Feel free. If there is no other discussion on this particular resolution, I do believe we have a motion before us.
You do?
Mr. Treasurer?
Ms. Reyes? Yes. President Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
No.
Vice President Cole?
Yes.
Ms. Gibbs?
I'm abstaining. As a member of OSBA, I'm abstaining.
And Mr. Peretti?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. That concludes board matters. Thank you for your indulgence, board members. The chair will now entertain a motion that we adopt the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All right. Questions, comments on any piece of legislation contained within the consent agenda this evening, colleagues? All right. Seeing none. Mr. Treasurer?
President Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Cole?
Yes.
Ms. Gibbs?
Yes, except for 14.8 and 14.9, which is the legislation for I Know I Can, which I must abstain because I serve on that board as well.
As a clarification, I believe those are items 14.7.
7 and 14.8.
14.8, on which Ms. Gibbs is abstaining. Thank you.
Mr. Peretti? Yes. Ms. Reyes?
Yes.
That motion carried.
Thank you very much. Mr. Treasurer, I will now call on the superintendent.
Thank you, President Baker, Vice President Cole, members of the board. It is a pleasure for me to introduce to you newly appointed or promoted administrators in the district, and I'll ask them to stand as I call their name. And someone that's been a long-standing servant to employee benefits as our manager is moving over to employee relations as business partner, Marianne Baum. Congratulations, Marianne. Is she standing? She's not, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, from transportation supervisor to supervisor B260 transportation operations manager. I believe he's taking Carlene's position. Gary Bright, are you here? There he is, yay, very good. From leadership intern to high school principal at Fort Hays Metropolitan Education Center, Michelle Stone. An outsider. From occupational therapist at Hilliard City Schools to supervisor A220 or Columbus City Schools, occupational therapist Amy Comfort. From principal of Education Solutions Company to elementary school principal at Moeller, Jamaica Schultz. Some of you may remember her. She was at Huey A.G. Bell once upon a time, went to serve as interim superintendent for the Ohio School for the Blind, and now she's returning as principal of Huey A.G. Bell, Denise Woods. From director of the Arthur James Cancer Hospital to executive director in our own accountability department, Flachet Lyons. He was the assistant middle school principal at Mifflin Middle, and he's moving over to CCPSB as their middle school principal, Dion Drakeford. And this one happened on a previous agenda, but she was unable to make that meeting. From supervisor of school choice to director of central enrollment, Tanya Freeman. Over in the auditor's office, we have, having served as supervisor A260, internal auditor to now the director of internal auditing, Kevin O'Connor. It's the quiet ones you have to watch out for. And this one, Charles Richardson was a high school assistant principal at Marion Franklin. He's the new leader of the Tigers at East High School principal. Full circle, he's moved back home. I think that's where you lived, so very good. And then from supervisor B260 occupational and physical therapy to supervisor C260 occupational and physical therapy, Lynn Simonetti. I told the board earlier this evening, I think this is one of the strongest and most diverse cohorts of leaders we've had in the district, at least since I've been here, and I'm talking nearly 350. And so we're so pleased that you've joined us, and thank you for participating today in the orientation for new administrators. And as I told them, teachers and others that are here, their primary customers are you. And whatever they do, it's to make you be successful. So we live to serve. Thank you again for serving Columbus City Schools.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Welcome or welcome back or congratulations. Thank you very much for agreeing to serve or to continue to serve. We appreciate your work. And let's move then to announcements. Board members, have you any very brief announcements you might like to share this evening? Board Member Reyes?
Thank you, President Baker. Just wanted to announce that Columbus City Schools will have a presence at the Latino Festival August 12th and 13th. We'll have several members of our staff there. We'll have the Spanish immersion school kids and some of the staff reading some Spanish literature, so make sure you stop by our booth, in addition to having some of our HR staff looking to hire some of our open positions. In addition, for our kids, I was asked to announce on August 13th at Jack Maxton on 161, there'll be a school supply giveaway specifically for Columbus City Schools through La Mega radio station 97.9. If people are interested in getting school supplies for their children, they've asked that they can go out there to Jack Maxton Chevrolet on August 13th.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Brown?
Yes, just very briefly, I wanted to mention that last Wednesday, my wife Marilyn and I attended the Columbus Metropolitan Club luncheon, the topic for that one was Champion of Children. And I know Dr. Good was there as a past honoree, and Alicia Gillison was there. I don't recall whether we had any other staff, but Marilyn and I had been invited and honored to sit with the Franklin County Youth Council students. And we had some good, long conversation with some of our students, and they're phenomenal. Going on to college and really doing well, and we were impressed. So, our students are out there doing just a lot of really good things.
That's great. Any other brief announcements? Board Member Gibbs?
Yeah, just two things. First, want to not look at the first meeting of the year, but glad to be back. Want to give a shout out to the team, especially Ms. Gillison, and the I Know I Can team for the Gates Millennium Scholarship workshop they did over the summer. As you know, the Gates Millennium Scholarship is an amazing opportunity that pays for students to receive a bachelor's, master's, and a PhD. And that award went away for a while, and when it came back, it has a very aggressive timeline, and it's been pushed up a while, but due to your leadership and I know the work that was done, they were able to bring some kids in to get them started on that process so our kids could apply for that scholarship. We have numerous Gate Millennium Scholars from this district, from every single school, and they are doing amazing. If you see Logan Ginn, He's a I know I Can scholar, but Leslie Turner is a Gates Millennium Scholar. She recently graduated from Duke and is on her way to get her graduate studies on her way to becoming a pediatrician. And so kudos to everyone who's worked, who helped get those kids those scholarships. Secondly, Dr. Good, I just want to ask what I always ask. Number 2, summer graduation. Can you talk about summer graduation and the date that's coming up?
I can do that. The summer graduation date is August 19th at East High School, and it begins at 9:30. We're asking all the adults and students to arrive by 8:30 so they can assemble. And it's a wonderful, wonderful event. It's a very colorful event because each student dresses in the robe of their sending high school. And all of our principals, high school principals, will be there to award diplomas to their respective students. It's one of our favorite events in the summer.
Okay. Awesome. And finally, of course, I'm going to ask, she's sitting on the edge of her chair, if you still have a student that needs to get enrolled or has changed schools, need to get connected, can you just remind our viewing and listening audience again who they should call and how they should get connected to get their students?
Good evening, Dr. Klein. I'm sure they have the app, too.
Good evening, Board President Baker. To Board Member Gibbs' question, they can use the website to do their online registration, so it makes it nice and easy. They can do it in their jammies at home, and then they can make their appointment. The appointment takes 20 minutes per student, and they can actually make an appointment according to their own individual schedule. Keep in mind, we are open Monday through Saturday now, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night till 7, and Saturday all day.
And who is we?
Central Enrollment Center with Director Tanya Freeman at the helm. And keep in mind, the other thing that's really, really nice is it's a one-stop shop. So if they need a TB skin test, if they need their ESL assessment, it's all right there waiting for them. So there's no excuse. Come on down and let's get started. We're all ready for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Klein. Thank you, President Baker.
Thank you, Ms. Gibbs. Mr. Vice President?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just briefly, thank you, Ms. Freeman, so much for that shop that you run down there. I've had the opportunity to not only visit that shop, but also utilize it for my own children, to enroll my daughter and get her registered to be able to work and take employment as a sophomore in high school at Columbus North International, and to, of course, the whole lottery piece. But it's just been a very well-run operation, and I thank you for everything you've given and done. I've had the opportunity to talk with our parents who are also English second language, and we've also had resources on hand to be able to address the needs of those families as well. So thank you so much.
Mr. Superintendent?
Thank you, President Baker, Vice President Cole, members of the board. Also, Saturday, August 12th is going to be a big day. And anyone is welcome to join everyone at the African American Male Wellness Walk, which kicks off at 7 a.m. over here at Livingston Park. Wonderful, wonderful event, one of the largest in the nation, and it was begun right here with John Gregory. So very, very important. African American males, all males actually, can have physical assessments there. And one of the things that's important for everyone to know is that when Columbus City Schools are at these events, whether it's the Festival Latino, African American Male Walk, Pride events, we are also recruiting for some of our hard-to-fill positions. And we're making certain that we're there and we have people that speak different languages to ensure that some of our new Americans also understand what those opportunities are. So it's a great thing. There's also the Pure Elegance Back to School party at noon that day at Driving Park. So on Saturday, August 12th, I went last year thinking I would get pretty, but really what they do is they give out food and book bags and school supplies, and it's a great way to reconnect with families. And I think our families are ready to send their children back on July 5th. So they're happy to see us.
Yes, thank you, Superintendent. Board Member Gibbs?
Yes, I got one more question. I'm glad you brought that up. And since we have an amazing group of people that I know will be amassing their own school supplies, and there's a number of community organizations that will be giving away school supplies. We really appreciate everybody who does that. But if someone just wants to adopt a school and give those supplies straight to the school building so we know they're there for the kids on the first day, who should they contact, and how can organizations adopt a school?
Ms. Gillison?
President Baker, and to Board Member Gibbs' question, the contact would be Krista Bauer would be that contact, and the office number for Krista Bauer, since I don't know her number offhand, let's use 614-365-8950.
Okay.
Thank you.
What's the name of that office? The Office of Communications, Krista
Yes.
Bowers. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Any other brief announcements? All right. Then I will ask the Vice President to offer a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President, colleagues. It is recommended that the board recess into executive session per section 121.22G1 Ohio Revised Code to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee, and Ohio Revised Code per section 121.22G4 to prepare for, conduct, or review negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms or conditions of their employment.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Treasurer?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Cole?
Yes.
Ms. Gibbs?
Yes.
Mr. Peretti? Ms. Reyes? And President Baker.
Yes.
That motion carried.
Thank you. The board will now recess into executive session. We will adjourn from those chambers without returning to these. So thank you very much all for being here tonight. Have a good evening.